podcast. But my main just eating some pizza here. Keto pizza. I haven't completely lost my mind. We got Mr. Gregory Boytos. I pronounced that right? Boytos?
So good.
Good. He is an LA-based award-winning comedian, author, super athlete. He does ultra marathons. Not that you need the word ultra before marathon. He does powerlifting, Crossfit, mountain climbing, and lots more. Multi-platform marketer. And this guy is a pizza eating machine, as you can see right now. In his book, The Great Pizza Experiment, he tells a story of how he ate nothing but pizza for 45 days, didn't die, lost weight, improved his health, and created a unique nutritional approach, which is actually very similar to how I've learned to thrive concerning nutrition, which is elimination. How can two seemingly opposite approaches to food have so much in common? That's what we're going to talk about. Gregory and I met almost a year ago when he was kind enough to buy a pair of Skullbellz dumbbells. We've been in touch almost every day ever since then. He's always tagging us in Instagram posts, which we very much appreciate, sir. So thank you for that. We have a lot in common, all the way up to our love for cats. Gregory can be found on Instagram at The Pizza Athlete or on his website, GregoryBoytos.com, and his YouTube channel is The Pizza Athlete. His book, The Great Pizza Experiment, can be found on Amazon or on his website. And if you like food and if you like to laugh, you should get a copy. I finished it yesterday as of this recording, and I was laughing my ass off every single page. So, everybody, please welcome Mr. Gregory to the show.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for being on. So what kind of pizza are you eating, by the way?
Right now I'm kind of tag teaming a couple slices. I get a half cheese, half pepperoni from a New York style place down the street. The rumor is they import their water from New York to make the dough, which seems inefficient, but it's the rumor. It's called Mulberry Street Pizza, and there's 4 of them in LA. They're great.
Fascinating. Having a keto pizza, I'm sure that surprises you.
Now, what's the crust?
The crust is just cheese. Literally just cheese.
No eggs, no,
sir.
just cheese. Nice. Okay.
Just cheese. You've had keto pizza before.
I've had it, but it had mozzarella cheese and cream cheese and eggs in the crust.
Right on. So there's a bet between you and your wife, if I understand correctly from reading your book. Got your book right here. And there's a bet between you and your wife that each of you had to eat pizza and sandwiches respectively, and almost everyone and the was you each had to eat that one food until somebody said enough is enough. And pretty much everybody you talked to said that if they had to choose one meal the rest of their life, they would choose sandwiches over pizza. So are people in LA just like kind of weird like that? Because I don't know a single person that would pick sandwiches over pizza personally. That sounds kind of crazy.
It's a good, a fair question. And it wasn't limited to LA. That was the weird thing. It was like people, like my friend group on the Facebook, at that point spanned a few countries, but mostly like up and down the state of California and across the nation. And so, I mean, not that that's out of the ordinary. I'm just saying, like, it's not just an LA thing. Like, people everywhere are stupid. And I think that the problem with it is that maybe not the problem, but like, you know how the short dog or the little dog is always the one barking the most because they know they're little. And so like, they're like, well, before anyone gets me, I'm going to go get them. So I think that's what the deal is with sandwiches. It's like the pizza people are like, well, yeah, no shit. It's pizza. Pizza's the obvious answer. And all the sandwich people are like, no, it's sandwiches. You got to be sandwiches. So like the pizza people are scrolling through and they're like, you dumb idiots want to have nothing but sandwiches for the duration of the bet? Like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here and eat my pizza, which is my deal.
And when it comes to pizza versus sandwiches, I mean, is there any, I'm not aware of any health benefit to a sandwich over pizza. I mean, the bread and the crust are basically the same thing.
Well, I mean, as I not detail in the book, but my theory, or not my theory, but my philosophy is the macros based, right? So whatever you need, you can get any way. And if you're looking to optimize your macros, for me, I'm a higher protein and then lower fat and carbs kind of person. Like, this is how my body works the best. Pizza's pretty good for that. Sandwich would have, I would imagine, higher carbs. Because the bread to protein ratio is higher. And so if that's what you need, then do it. So like the health benefits is like, maybe you could get more, I don't know, vegetables on a sandwich, but I doubt that too, because pizza toppings, you know what I mean?
You're talking to a carnivore too, and I always feel better when I'm having absolutely no vegetables whatsoever. Yeah,
exactly. Like vegetables, as we discussed in our emails leading up to this, vegetables are water trash.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that you need, but nothing you can't get in a supplement or a pill. Like, sorry, vegetables, but you're gross.
Yeah, they're disgusting. I don't know anybody likes that likes eating them. You have to trick yourself into eating them and thinking that they're good. And people are like, oh, well, if you eat vegetables, then there's a lot of fiber in it. There's not really a lot of calories, so you just feel full. I'm like, well, I mean, if that's your goal, you could eat toilet paper. I mean, there's weird people that do that too. And like you'll lose your appetite very quickly.
Vegetables is what my food eats.
Yeah.
Right?
I believe in outsourcing my vegetable consumption.
Yeah, you get your... Yeah, I had a really weird diet growing up, and I probably didn't eat like vegetables as most people would know it until my mid 20s. Mm-hmm. Like even when I was doing like the Atkins diet, it was just meat and cheese. Like there was no vegetables to it. I didn't have eggs until I was 20, maybe 21.
Wow.
Just didn't appeal to me, and I didn't want to get in there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. So yeah, vegetables. Ugh.
Yeah, you mentioned macro questions, and I was going to ask you that later, but I think that's a good segue right into that then. So on page 9 of your book, you said that pizza is objectively not only preferable to sandwiches, but also one of the single best foods that exist. I don't think anybody would disagree there. It has all the food groups in the right ratios for consumption. It's beyond delicious, and its utility does not diminish. Pizza may in fact be perfect. It's quite the claim. So you got my attention with the macro ratios. So maybe this is just a carnivore in me talking, but isn't pizza like disproportionately high in fat and carbs? I mean, like how do you get the adequate protein that you need? Yeah, so I would say that's more, it's less of a scientific book at that point than humor based. So the joke there is that like you look at a food pyramid. I think a food pyramid metaphor is around there. But the food pyramid has like 6 to 11 servings of grains, and the next one is like fruit and meat, right? Or fruit and vegetables. So then you have like tomatoes and onions and all that stuff. And then you have the cheese is like the fats and the protein. So it's like a vegetarian food source, depending on the toppings. But you could get like a very high macros or a very high protein relative to the carbs and fats onto a pizza if you want, but like a normal slice of cheese pizza has like 12 grams of protein for 250 calories. So like not optimal, but also like not the worst. Yeah. And so the pizza diet itself was extreme and to one end, and I needed to supplement heavily to maintain it and to maintain health through it. And so if I was eating nothing but pizza, my macros wouldn't have been as good as I needed them. And I do have a weird macros profile because of my health and fitness goals. Mm-hmm. So I'm high protein. So I do like my loose macros is like aim for my body weight in protein in grams. So like if I'm 210 pounds, try and get that many grams of protein, 210 grams of protein, and then like split off the remaining calories for the day among fats and carbs. So just get all protein first. If I go over to get it, I go over to get it. You know, I'm not too strict. I don't have aesthetic goals that are strict at the moment. So because there's quite a bit of people that'll say that having this may just be like bro rumors within the gym, but that if you have carbs and fats together, that the carbs are going to spike up your insulin and not all that fat's going to get stored. You seem to disprove that because you're in very good shape.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, thank you, coming from you, that's a compliment. I'm not wearing a tank top because I felt my traps would be overshadowed. But yeah, so your body isn't storing, your body isn't storing calories in a deficit. So that's just, if your insulin spikes and you do, then later that day when you end up in a deficit while you're sleeping, it just retakes it.
Goes down.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Like you pretty much almost had me convinced to just start eating pizza by the end of the book. I was like, I never thought somebody would put up such a good argument for eating pizza all the time, but this is brilliant.
Thanks. I mean, it's good and it's effective if I could. And it's great is it's delicious too. Not that a carnivore diet isn't delicious, because I like putting meat on my pizza. That's fantastic, Yeah. I
think when it comes to protein consumption, most people that say that you need north of 250, 300 grams a day are usually trying to sell you a protein supplement. But most of it's pretty well overkill. I'm different. I consume north of 400 grams because that's my primary fuel source, actually.
Yeah. So you have to. You need it.
Exactly. Yeah, because that basically replaces my carbs. So do you supplement protein or anything? Or?
I do. Yeah. So my current regimen is less pizza, but there's still pizza in a 7-day week. I would say I have pizza 6 days. A good week would have 7, a bad week would have 3. Like if I'm traveling a lot, there's probably more pizza. But so of the 200 grams of protein I try and get in every day, about 100 is like a whey casein protein supplement. And that happens. I'm also intermittent fasting because just to restrict the window of eating, and that makes my meals more fun. If you're only having 2 meals a day, they can be more fun than if you're splitting the calories up among 3. So like my first meal is like 70 grams of protein. Then I have a 50 gram protein snack right around training. And then dinner is another 70 or 80. And then I just supplement the rest before bed.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned intermittent fasting. Do you still do intermittent fasting?
At the moment, I'm working on some sleep stuff and moving the fast around. And also work is really, really busy. So I've been training, normally I would train at lunch or a lunchtime. And that works so well for intermittent fasting. But now that I have to train before work, instead of at lunch, I'm not intermittent fasting, but that's just for 2 weeks.
So how does that work with your feeding window then? Do you train fed or do you train fasted?
I always train fed. Now in the book, I was intermittent fasting and doing fasted cardio,
Right.
and then breaking the fast after. And sometimes I would do fasted powerlifting. So I would squat, bench, and deadlift with just pre-workout on 16 hours outside of it, or 16 hours of fasting, and then pre-workout, workout, and then come eat. But I didn't see the results. And so it was hard to be so strict for no marginal difference, right. That's why you and I keep diligent records. I mean, I see you in the gym every day, your workouts, reps, sets, weights, everything is diligent. And I do the same thing with my food tracking, my weight tracking, all that stuff. And because if it can be measured, it can be managed. And so noticing that, hey, when I don't eat, there's no downside to working, or there's no downside to lifting, then okay, don't eat if you don't want to. But if you do want to, and then you notice that when you eat before, there's no upside, well, then you just kind of do what you feel, and there's no difference to your training. And so that's the good part about keeping such diligent records, is you see if changes matter. And then you can take steps based on that. So if I want to have breakfast, I can't be like, no, I can't eat breakfast because intermittent fasting helps me achieve all my goals. It's like, no, intermittent fasting just is something that I do, you know?
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty similar to what I was doing up through my last competitions when I was consuming a very high carbohydrate diet. It was pretty much just sweet potatoes for all my carbs. So I'd train fasted in the morning and then get a couple meals in. First meal didn't have any carbs, and the second 2 meals had carbs. Very small meals, kind of like every couple hours with protein. They're mostly fish. And then train, fed, get a good pump, and then replenish with carbs and protein after. Then have a little bit of carbs and protein right before bed too. So that morning fasted cardio, I think, was very helpful when the insulin levels are low and everything, like you were saying. Anymore, I personally prefer to train fasted for a couple of reasons. Because with a carnivore diet, it's not carbs, and it takes a while for gluconeogenesis to kick in, and so that all those proteins, excess proteins, turn into carbs. So I like to eat a couple pounds of steak just like right before bed, and I try to keep it pretty lean. Actually, eat more of my fats, like fattier cuts earlier in the day, and then save the lean cuts for night. And then while I'm asleep, it changes into gluconeogenesis, and so then when I wake up, like I feel full and I feel great. I don't have any food in my stomach, so I'm not wasting any energy on digestion. So that's kind of been my diet hack as of lately. But
nice.
Yeah, if I was consuming carbs, I don't think that would work very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I smiled when you said gluconeogenesis because I love the word, and it's just such a smart sounding word. Yeah. And gluconeogenesis, it just happens on its own, right?
Put a definition in the show notes.
Yeah, it's basically your body it gets glycogen or sugar from protein, right?
Right.
Like glucose is sugar. Neo is new and Genesis is creation. So like makes new sugar out of protein, which wouldn't happen if you were doing a carbohydrate diet because it's already there.
Right. And it doesn't happen in the ketogenic diet either, because then your primary source of fuel is ketones.
Yeah.
So both carnivore diet and ketogenic diet are both low carb, but it depends on whether protein is your main fuel source or fats. Some people prefer one or the other. So awesome. So on the subject of elimination diets, that's something that you and I both have in common. On page 20 of your book, you describe how too much pizza is bad for you. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. The problem is that most people overconsume pizza, but if you know that your next meal is just going to be pizza, then it's easy to pace yourself. Same reason I eat steak every day. And some people are moderators, and some people are eliminators, right? Some people, if you make them do that, like they'll lose their mind, and they'll say like, no, like I have to, like I never wanted cookies until you told me I can't have cookies. Now I'm like a toddler that just wants them, right? So have you ever tried the everything in moderation approach?
I mean, try, sure, yeah. I fail instantly.
I'm saying
it's like, yeah. I mean, my brain doesn't get it. Yeah. And it's the same reason I run ultra marathons. Like, yeah, running is cool. You know, it's awesome. You know, it's better than running. More running, all the running. Give me it all. I want to do this from 8 a.m. on Saturday until 8 p.m. Sunday. Like just
you're an all or nothing kind of guy.
Exactly. Like
all aspects.
Yeah. And like, it's just, you know, how I don't judge people who can do moderation. My mother-in-law can do moderation. My wife's a grazer. Like she will just like eat throughout the day and then have all her needs met. And, you know, she's in really good shape and former D1 athlete and all that good genetics. And they can do that. But like, you know how many cookies I'm eating if there's cookies in the house? All of them.
Yeah.
It's not, I buy cookies and I have 2 a day until the cookies are gone. It's like, no, this 1 box of cookies lasts a week. 10 boxes of cookies lasts a week. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And so like the only way to do it is all or none. And so if I'm not having cookies, if my goals say that cookies don't fit in my macros, or that cookies won't get me there, no cookies, you know?
Did you find it very easy to be in tune with when your body's hungry and when it's really not?
On the diet?
Yeah.
No, because it was the intermittent fasting. Well, I guess I don't know if it was in tune like that. Or if it was, I didn't ever like articulate it. But maybe it was just happened and I never even noticed it because I was just like, I can eat all the pizza and then I'd have a slice and be like, yeah, that was awesome. And then just be done. Whereas before, if it's like, all right, I'm only getting pizza once this week, I have to eat a whole pizza, you know, and that's not going to do anyone any good.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that when I eliminate everything to just one food, then my body just kind of forgets that everything else exists. And so I know that if I'm hungry, and if I'm actually hungry, then I'm going to be craving meat. But like if I'm eating basically whatever I want and just more of like an if it fits macros approach, which works great for a lot of people, doesn't work for me. If I do that, then like if I'm stressed or something, I'll want to eat. But it's not because I'm hungry, it's just because I'm stressed or because I'm bored or because I'm tired.
Yeah, I think I interpret that as decision fatigue. Like I don't have to worry about what I'm eating because it's in your case meat, you know, just what kind of meat. But if I have to be like, all right, I have 7 grams of protein to get in and 4 grams of carbs and 19 grams of fat left, well, what food fixes that or what food nails that? It's like nothing, man. So like this, like the flexible dieting, even though like it is an incredible opportunity and resource for some people and it works really well for some people, for people like me, it's just it's more stressful because it's like when you're doing your own programming versus if you're having a coach program for you, you know, like I found that I was programming for myself with a coach's supervision over the past year, and like doing my own accessories was very stressful for me and I didn't like it. And now that the program is back up and running for the team, he's doing the accessories again. It's so much easier to do something that someone else just tells you and just like being like, okay, I trust you, we're good. And the same thing is with your diet. If you're like, oh no, I'm not having cookies because cookies aren't meat, it's easy and a lot easier than I'll have 1 cookie today.
Yeah.
Because no one wants just 1 cookie.
Dude, my wife can do it. I've seen her do it before. She'll eat a cookie and then she can stop. And my brain can't even fathom what that's like what's going through her head.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like my sister-in-law actually, she can do that too. And she has like, she'll go to the store and buy like 10 boxes of cookies and then just have 1 from every box on like alternating days. And so like by the time she gets through the boxes, like the cookie is going to be stale. Yeah. So like we'll go over there and I'll just like go into her pantry and just like,
yeah,
it's like this cookie's stale. How does that happen? I've never had it stale. I didn't understand. And my parents, not to blame them, but they did the same thing. They were just a box of cookies. I'd be surprised if it made it through the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet it's very convenient for when you travel because like every city has pizza restaurants. Like, I mean, it's gotta be pretty easy to find it.
Yeah, I mean, even the first night off the pizza diet after the 45-day experiment, I was in New Orleans, which is like a food city, and you know, drunk as you are in New Orleans, and I was eating pizza. Like I went all the way to the land of gumbo and po' boys and atchafalaya. I don't know if jambalaya. Atchafalaya is a place. All that stuff, and ended up eating pizza at midnight. So like, yeah, it's everywhere. It's taking over the world, man. Such a good food, and for good reason. It's easy, margins are good, it's tasty, and everyone knows it and likes it.
Yeah, eating out on if you're on the steak every day plan, eating out is not really possible or in your budget.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. I don't know if this is just an LA thing or like a my budget in LA thing, but like the best steaks I've ever had at restaurants are not steakhouses. Is that just me?
I haven't eaten out for steak in a long time because nobody ever makes it right. Like my steak has to be
Blue.
So rare. It's it's literally got to be blue on the inside still, and I will stress the importance of this to the waiter from every different angle that I possibly can, and it's still overcooked by the time I get it. In my opinion, like if it's like pink is way overcooked in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not my style, but my buddy, we were at a restaurant. Harrison Ford's kid had a restaurant in, I don't know, Pasadena or something. This is years ago in high school. I think this was like a dance, like a pre-dance, like prom or whatever. And my buddy ordered a steak blue, and the waiter panicked, went and got the manager. The manager came back and like explained to him what that meant. And then I remember it, I could be wrong, they made him sign a waiver. Has that ever happened to you where they're just like, this?
I've never had to sign one, but I've had people like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And yeah.
So weird. I've only had raw steak on accident, like camping, just like, whoops, I didn't cook it enough. Or the fire, we ran out of firewood and it's just like, this is as cooked as it's going to get. Or steak tartare.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Steak tartare, I like. And that's just raw steak, right?
I'm pretty sure. I don't really eat out because that's you'll go broke fast if you're eating steak out every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I got probably 10 pounds of beef in my freezer, and like, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
But buy in bulk. That's my strategy.
Yeah, exactly. We got a Restaurant Depot. We used to have a meal prep company, and so we just still use our restaurant card for that, and works out pretty well. That's our workaround.
Smart.
Yep. So managing a ravenous appetite. Dude, I have a ravenous appetite just because I have my whole life, bro. Like I didn't have a gut condition like you did that required medical steroids, not the cool steroids, but the medical ones that gave you many unfortunate side effects, and one of which was a bottomless appetite. So did you find that eliminating everything besides pizza helped you through that?
During the corticosteroid treatment, I wasn't on the pizza diet, but I ate a ton of pizza. But it was just like, I mean, no matter what I ate, I could eat, I'm saying like loaves of bread and before dinner, and like, I'm not talking about like a loaf, I'm talking about three before dinner, and then having dinner, and then having my splitting dessert with my wife, and then eating so fast because I was just so hungry that like I would eat hers before she could get to it, like, halvesies and whatever.
Yeah.
Which caused friction because my wife loves food too, just not all of the food. And so like, yeah, I mean, it didn't matter what I ate. I could probably have eaten until I threw up. It just would have just filled up, and then I would have tried to eat more, because that's just how if I didn't have to consciously think like, okay, I've had enough on the steroid treatment, then like I would just keep going.
Yeah. Was part of the reason that your appetite was so big was because it boosted your metabolism at least? Or?
The corticosteroids, I wouldn't say they boosted my metabolism. They're so weird. I don't like them, except for them like saving my life, because of their like anti-inflammatoriness. But like, it wasn't a metabolism. Like I would gain, like if I went on steroids right now, I'd probably gain 30 pounds, just as how it goes, because water retention maybe, and the hunger is just so great. And it's an insurmountable hunger. Like there's nothing you could ever do to stop it, except for being like, no, you're full, stop. Like it took my wife crying to make me stop eating on a couple occasions, and it was just like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize I'm just hungry, so I keep eating, just shoveling it in. It was so bizarre. And like, this is like, you don't go on steroids as like the first bit of treatment, because I have ulcerative colitis, and so like you're usually like in a flare, and so like you have my first time on steroids, and I'd gone from like 240 pounds to like 160 pounds. So that's like over probably 2 months of just like I don't mean to be graphic, but ulcerative colitis is a bathroom disease. And so like, you're just going all the time.
Yeah.
And by all the time, I mean like 20 times a day. And for 8 weeks, like you're going to lose some weight. You know what I mean? And so I was like so thin that the steroids, the first couple times I did them after these long flares, like my weight loss was so extreme that like I just got back to normal with the steroids. But then when I was like, had better medical care and we caught the flare early with steroids, it's like, well, I haven't lost all that weight yet. So it's kind of like pushing me the wrong direction. So it was like more noticeable as I grew up or as I got to be older, because I wouldn't let it get so bad before seeing a doctor, basically. Yeah.
Your wife crying when you were going through that. A couple years ago, I was in the deep pit of an eating disorder. This is something I'm trying to mention more often, because so many people that struggle with this and don't know how common it is. And I've been there. Yeah, my wife crying because she saw what I was going through. You know, it's something that's really pretty easy to hide, and you get good at hiding it. But then, but it catches up with you, and it's a hard addiction to get away from, and it takes support from a lot of people. It takes a lot of prayer in my case, and really the only thing that really helped me get past it was finally hiring a coach too, and somebody that was accountable to every single thing that I was eating, because then I wasn't guessing all the time. And then and like all of my, this is back when I was coaching myself, so like all of my nutrition information, everything was just coming from YouTube and books and everything, and there's so many different opinions on everything. And so what he did was he helped me to cut out sugar and really eliminate all the trigger foods that were causing a problem. And it took all of the guesswork out of it for me. And I was like, okay, just exactly what you say, coach. Exactly what you say, coach. Exactly what you say, coach. So it's been a big deliverance in my case from that. But yeah, it's not a fun place to be.
Not at all. No.
Yeah. So you've books. You've mentioned that you've read a lot of self-help, self-improvement books.
Yeah.
You're speaking my language now. So what are some of your favorites, man?
My favorites. So this Ryan Holiday, The Stoics. I don't remember his first book.
He was on Mind Pump not too long ago.
He was what?
He was on Mind Pump not too long ago.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So he's really popular. He kind of distills and analyzes and interprets the thoughts and philosophies of like the Stoic philosophers from Rome, and the name is escaping me now.
Stoicism. So we're up to gluconeogenesis, Stoicism. This is going to be a smart episode.
Yeah, I think The Obstacle is the Way is his book, and it turns out I went to college with him. He's a college. I think he dropped out after 1 or 2 years, but we were at the same school at the same time.
Yeah.
In the same program, I would imagine, although I'm not sure, because he's a writer and I was in a creative writing program, so he could have been an economist, but I'm not sure. But we went to the same school at the same time. I don't think I ever met him, but The Obstacle is the Way is a cool book. It is pretty much, I mean, not to oversimplify it, but the obstacle is the way. Like if you, for example, have an eating disorder and that's holding you back, the eating disorder is the obstacle. The way is to go through that. And so like, that's kind of like the idea of this book is like, find what's stopping you. And that's where you have to go. You can't go around it. Through, you know? That was the most recent book I read. I really liked the Tim Ferriss 4 Hour Body.
And then I haven't gotten that one yet though.
it's a classic. I did this low carb diet for a while. If you want to talk about elimination diets, that's it.
Yeah.
Plus like a 1 refeed day a week. That was sweet. That was a cool book. I even tried to do the, there's like a running, like an ultra marathon training plan in the book. And I tried to do that. But I got injured. So derailed that. Then I read a book called the Ninja It's like the Ninja Mind Control. It was a weird book about that one, and there's another one, the Two Sword Method, I think. Just two like ancient like ninja books, because I was like, this will be awesome. One was like, Ninja Mind Control. I don't know. They were weird and cool, but clearly I forgot them instantly. And then I read a lot of like how to run faster books, and then don't do anything about it. I just like read them to get inspired, to run more, not.
I think you said in your book that if the secret to success was in a book, that would be the last book that you read, you'd be successful.
Right? Yeah. So like these books to me are less like pathways and more like inspiration. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm not watching the NFL on Sunday mornings because I want to play football. It's going nowhere. Okay. So I'm not watching the Boston Marathon coverage on whatever, or I'm not watching Olympic track and field because I want to go compete in the Olympics. I'm watching it because I want to just go running 3 miles, you know, or whatever the fuck. So like they're more, self-help is more like inspirational fodder rather than like an actual pattern on how to do things. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's because I used to read them and try them and it never worked. So then at a certain point I stopped trying, but I haven't stopped reading them yet. Or if it's because they just inspire me to like be better. And these are all just tools that I will consume and then one day wield without realizing it. Which is kind of like in a circuitous way, like why I train fitness. So I can use it without knowing it, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, maybe it's the same thing. It's just like mental fitness and mental resilience to learn that, hey, this is a way to do it. This is a way to do it. And then one day you'll just do something on instinct, but it's something from a book, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's it.
Cool.
I hope. And I could fully go into my library. My library is one shelf in the other room. But I'm not going to run just to get the titles right. But they weren't particularly, the books that I can't remember weren't like great. They were just like cool. Yeah. And I read them on the bus. I was riding the bus in Los Angeles because I didn't have a car. And so like secretly it was like that guy's reading a ninja book. Like I'm not going to mess with him. That was like my first layer of defense was, oh shit, he's reading how to be a ninja. Like I'll stay away.
Books are great conversation starters. It's funny when you're reading a book in public, like people are just fascinated with it. I was just reading a book called "A Woman Rides the Beast," which is a theological prophecy book, and it's a very, very good book. But yeah, it's called "A Woman Rides the Beast," and my wife's talking to me. She's like, "What the hell are you reading? Like, is that like a triple X? Like what?"
It'd be a good title for a porn book.
Yeah. Okay, Skullbellz. You've been using them consistently for quite some time, so which I very much appreciate, and it's gratifying as the maker to see that. How do they compare to normal dumbbells?
So I got them because they look dope. First of all, like my goal is to die very old person.
There's more to this statement.
Yeah, my goal is to die. No, my goal is to die a very old person, a very strong person. And when they send, my wife and I do not plan on having kids. So when they send whoever buys our house that we die in to clean it out, they're like, what is this weird stuff in this guy's garage? So like these Skullbellz that I have pizza plates. I have just anything weird. I have a bunch of mace bells with faces on them, you know, like I plan on getting those weird kettlebells with the faces on them, you know, all that stuff. I want the weird stuff. I want the dirty stuff. And these Skullbellz were just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like I need those. Plus I'd outgrown my 20-pound dumbbells, and 50-pound dumbbells were crazy expensive. And so I was like, at the time, the value of these 30-pound dumbbells was like way more than just
600% increase at the time.
What's that?
Of used equipment. The cost of used equipment was 600% increased because of COVID.
Yeah. And so like at the time, like they were a steal for just normal dumbbells. If I would have just bought normal 30-pound dumbbells, it would have been about the same price at the time. I don't know the details now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first heard that, I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then I got them, and they're longer than normal dumbbells. And so there's like, it's not an increased resistance. Like if you're doing like hammer curls, which is what I do a lot of. I do a lot of hammer curls because my elbow's messed up. Like right at the start of COVID, I was doing barbell curls and the inside of my elbow started hurting, and it's hurt ever since a little bit. So it only hurts when I do straight bar curls or like supinated grip rows. So I try and avoid those if I can. So I'm only doing hammer curls with these things in the front. I'm also doing weighted box step ups, suitcase lunges, all that stuff. And for those, they work just the same as every other dumbbell, but they just look fucking cool. Like I want my neighbors to walk by while I'm alive. So this is like the rest of my life. I want them to walk by and be like, that guy's fucking scary. Are those skulls? Keep walking. Like that's it. And so like these do that, and they look awesome. And
Thank you.
Yeah, they're cool. And I thought that the way that you sent I don't know if you do this for all your customers or just the early adopters, you sent like spray paint with them in case they got chipped up, which of course they do. They get chipped up. You know, I don't drop them. I don't drop weights. I'm not a weight dropper, but I drop other weights on accident, you know, bailing off a bench or whatever. And, you know, little chip here and there, and there's spray paint to fix it. I thought that was just so like classy and caring from a customer service point of view that I was like, man, like I'm so glad that I did this. And so, you know, I appreciate that. And
I appreciate it. Now I'm thinking of everybody that didn't send spray paint to. They're going to hear this and they're going to be like, where the hell's my spray paint?
Ooh, awkward.
I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure I did it with all of them.
Yeah. That and the handwritten note. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like the only person who writes me handwritten notes is my best friend. So when I saw yours, I was like, oh, this is nice. Like I kind of like this.
Oh, thanks, man.
So I really appreciated that. And then I just think that more people should have cool shit like that to get strong with, because it's a little bit longer. And so like if you're doing like front rack carries with 2 dumbbells, hypothetically, it's going to be a little bit out, a little bit more, whatever. It's out a little bit more. Like it's a different modal domain or different plane of resistance or whatever, you know? So like, it's cool. But like they look so cool. And me and my friends have this thing we've been doing since high school where like you know, this Shakespeare with the skull, but it's like this like metal voice, like raise your fucking chalices. And so like when I saw these Skullbellz, it's like, I need those just to have them in my garage so I can, you know, raise these fucking chalices.
Yeah. So,
and yeah.
Have you ever done a supinated curl with them, or where you twist and supinate at the top? So start like curl and twist up. Yeah.
So when I'm doing, hammer curls just stay, and then the supinated curl I do. So most of my movements I learned from YouTube, Starting Strength with Mark Ripito, and then Mark Ripito YouTube. And he used to be the powerlifting guru for CrossFit, and he is no longer, but I learned about him from the 4-Hour Body book. Tim quotes him in the 4-Hour Body. And he said like wiggle bar curls. I don't know if it's like the wavy curl bar, easy curl bar. I call it a wiggle curl bar because it's got a wiggle in it. And I learned everything on YouTube. And so he's like, those only work one head of the bicep. And so he's like, if you want to do the real both heads of the bicep, start in hammer, and as you come up, curl. So it's the only way I curl unless my coach says hammer curls. Like there's no, so that's the way I do it, just so it gets both.
So some of the Have you ever leaned back on a bench and
oh my God,
and twisted them like that?
Yes. So we had in the first iteration of the CrossFit gym that I went to, they would every now and again have Friday bro days. And so CrossFit works is like everyone in the class does the same 60-minute routine throughout all the classes for the day. So like there's a program that the whole thing is following, and like everyone does the same thing every day, and there's a whiteboard and you can compete. But every now and again they'd have just a Friday bro day, which was like, all right, we're going to do curls. We're going to do leg curls, hamstring curls, those things with the slider where you're laying on your back and you slide your heels towards your butt and like pike up into the bridge, all that kind of stuff. Just like your accessory day, right? Yeah. And so the first time they did this accessory day, I was doing the curls, and I didn't really curl before this. And they were just like, yeah, you know, like do it. And they only had like in the station, they only had like 10-pound dumbbells, 12.5-pound dumbbells, and 15-pound dumbbells. And I was like, hey, this is girl weight. Like, where's the guys' weights for this? And they were like, no, that's it. And so I picked up the 10s, which was the lightest one, and could barely get 10 because your shoulder's fully extended, right? Right. And it could barely get 10. Did not finish the 5 sets, but like was so sore. It was like so stressful on my biceps that I told you I was a crazy person, that I would go off on these random tangents. Short answer, yes, I've done it. Wow, it's difficult. With the Skullbellz are way too heavy for me to try that with the Skullbellz.
Yeah, no, leaning back and getting that full stretch, and then getting that contraction at the top with the twist. Oh man, it feels great. And so in Arnold's book, his bodybuilding encyclopedia, you would do that for 6 reps on each side, leave them down, and then twist them just like that. You're not even curling. You just twist back and forth, and then bang out 4 more reps. And the pump is out of this world, dude. It is insane. It feels amazing.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I used to bowl a lot. Do you ever bowl? Ever go bowling?
When I have nothing better to do.
Yeah. So you ever get sore the day after you bowl?
No.
Oh, well, bowl harder.
Okay.
Bowl harder next time.
Maybe that's why I never get 100.
Never get okay.
I'm pretty bad, bro.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of gutter balls when I bowl.
Yeah. No, I was in like intramural bowling in college.
Oh, okay.
So I would bowl like twice a week for a few years. And so like, but still like my arm would be sore every time, because the motion of bowling is full extension and then contraction, and then it's 15 pounds. You have to throw it as hard as you can. So it's just same deal is what I mean.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Last question that I want to ask you, but I really appreciate your time on our show. I want to thank you so much for that. As you know, a superset is when you alternate between opposing muscle groups to cut your workout time in half and actually increase the results of each exercise. And you do that quite a bit. Have you found that your approach to working out and nutrition to be a superset, making you a better comedian, marketer, husband, all of the above?
Yeah. The short of it is, yeah, like, for a few reasons. I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you half-ass your time in the gym, you're probably half-assing everything. Yeah, straight up. If you're cheating in the gym, that's not the only place you're doing that, you know? If you're tracking food on a food tracker and not putting everything in, well, you know, you're not being completely honest with everything in your life, including your goals to yourself. Like, I'm not saying that you owe anyone an explanation as to what you're eating, but if you're saying you want to do something and you're not really doing that, then you're not really doing that. So why say it? And so, like, you know, as I mentioned in my book, I've run until my kidneys failed, you know, which isn't a good thing. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it to have my kidneys fail, but that's that type of goal oriented, at any cost attitude is how I have to be, as we've covered, I have no middle ground. And so I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And that's it. And so like, yeah, my kidneys fail, but I did it. I finished, you know, like, cool. Now let's fix the kidneys, which I did mercifully. Or the doctors did. I just kind of laid there and drank a bunch of Gatorade. But yeah, so if you're able to truly give it all in the gym and track everything meticulously and do this, be what you want to be and work at that as hard as you can, then, you know, I'm in marketing. And so like getting a note at 7 p.m. on a Friday that, hey, you need to redo this. Okay, cool. I'll do it. I mean, not happy about it, but like, if you think that I'm not going to do this note because I'm afraid of the work, that's not it. I'm not afraid of the work. I know what it is to work, and this isn't it. You know what's work? The 8th set of an 8 rep max.
Yeah.
That's the barbell is over your face. Yeah. Like that matters. You know, like if I don't make this, I'm eating. I mean, I'm only benching like 210, but I'm eating 210 pounds of steel here. You know, like I think I'll be good working a little bit late on a Friday night, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in short, I truly think that the discipline in the gym, the discipline you learn and hone in the gym really ripples out. And I don't mean just the gym. I mean, any type of fitness endeavor, hard stuff that you do for no reason, except that you want to, then the stuff that you have to do is easier. And anyone, you know this, because you put in the hours, that's the truth, straight up.
Yeah. A lot of hours. That dovetails perfectly into what you said. The secret to losing weight or your medical or Juris Doctorate degree is a specific regimen of focused work. The hard part isn't knowing what to do, it's doing it.
Yeah. Do anything for an hour a day, 3 times a week for 10 years. It's going to show.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, sir, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on our show. You're a lot more serious than what I expected after reading your book.
Should I be funny? I just, I mean, this is serious. This is not a joke.
Yeah.
I think people in the fitness community, like, they vilify foods, and it's hurt you, it's hurt me, and it hurts it at one time or another, it hurts everyone. And so like, there's time for jokes, like, and then there's time for like, hey, let's get real. Like, any food is fine in moderation.
Yeah, I've been known as I have a reputation of being anti-carb just because I don't eat carbs. I mean, you're not anti everything else besides pizza. You know, it's like I don't think that any other foods are necessarily inherent bad in and of themselves. But for me personally, it's just I choose not to. It's just it doesn't work for me personally.
Exactly. And what you eat, I don't have to eat it. I mean, it's your diet. I'm sitting here, you know, so like, why does anyone care about what anyone else is eating?
Yeah.
Except for inspiration. I think that's important work that we both do for our communities of carnivores, of pizzavores, and the fitness folks that think they can't start because they're this, or won't start because, hey man, the only way to see results is to have this chicken and broccoli and rice diet. Nah.
Get out of here. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a good talk, man.
Thanks, man.
Topics. Yeah, we gotta do this again sometime. We'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Might do like I was thinking about doing 45 days of bacon only.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna do 45 or not 45 days. Have you seen Super Jaime with Doug Benson? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a really weird movie. It's like Super Size Me, but Doug Benson is like a pothead comic. And so he does 30 days with not smoking any pot at all, and then 30 days of smoking so much fucking weed. And like, that's the comparison. It's kind of like a joke about the Morgan Spurlock movie, Super Size Me. So it's Super High Me. It's pretty fun if you are not totally against pot use. because it isn't a movie that you can watch and be like pot agnostic. You kind of have to be down with it because he gets high as it's like scary high. But that inspired me.
You're gonna say high as a kite.
Oh, right, high as a kite. But that inspired me to do my own project of like 8 days eating nothing but broccoli, and then gaining weight because I could do that. You don't think I could do that? I could totally eat only broccoli and gain weight over 8 days.
And I would gain weight just from the stress of doing that.
From the misery of like all the beers I'd have to drink to get through that.
Cortisol would be through the roof. There'd be burning. Nope.
Yeah, and then after like undoing all that damage with another pizza diet. Yeah. And so like that's my next project. My next big project, I think.
Yeah. Well, if you want to do like a some sort of competition like you did with your wife or something, like I'm down, man. Like I'll do bacon every day. I'll do like only steak every day. I mean, I basically did that already. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're both. See, that's the thing is like it started as a diet, but I beat my wife in like 5 days. I did not beat my wife. I will say that. I won the bet I won the bet in 5 days, and I kept going for 40 days because A, it's awesome, and B, like under the pretense of the bet, it was like the only time I could ever get away with it.
Yeah, and she broke it with pizza, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because pizza's the best. But like, I don't think I could get away with it. Like from like a I live with this person perspective, I don't think I could get away with another pizza diet unless she got like, I don't know, sent to jail, you know, because like our lives are so intertwined that like we have to be on roughly the same diet. Otherwise it'll just be messy. Yeah. So, but I don't doubt that you could do nothing but bacon. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing it.
It's great.
It's perfect keto macros. So it'd be different for me. It's literally perfect keto macros. So fat would be my primary fuel source, and then I had to be okay with the low protein, and hopefully I'd probably lose a little bit of muscle, but it's okay. I can get that back pretty quick.
Not if you eat more bacon.
That's true. I can eat more bacon. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, man. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, man. This is a lot of fun. I like talking. Mm-hmm. I like pizza. I like talking about pizza. And like, there's not too many people that are out there doing it every day. And like, so it's great to just like hang, like not cameras off, but like recording aside, like having Zoom chats with like-minded people.
Yeah. That's
what's up, man.
Yeah.
It's really invigorating in terms of like, I think I'm onto something. The more I do this, the more I post about it, the more you do this, the more you post about it. And like, it's a cool community, and a rare community of people dedicated in the way that I think we are. So
yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, man.
Keep up the good work.
I live for conversations like this. I really do. I love talking about bodybuilding, food, faith. I mean, anything like that. So yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I'll let you get to the rest of your pizza.
Word. Thanks so much, man. It was good hanging.
It's good seeing you too, bud.
Take care.
You too, man.
Hey, podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for this entire episode. If you found this entertaining or if you found it helpful, we ask if you would please share this and help spread the word. To make sure that you don't miss future weekly episodes, we have a new episode every Saturday morning. You can subscribe to the podcast, and it would mean the world to us if you would leave us a rating or a review on iTunes or whatever platform that you're listening on. And if you're listening to this audio, remember that you can watch the video on YouTube. We are not on Patreon or any other service for donations. This content is our gift to you. If you would like to support the show, we do invite you to our website, supersetyourlife.com, where you will find our retail pages for our very own Skullbellz workout equipment line, hats, t-shirts, coaching services, and my stand-up comedy booking information. On the website, you will also find the link to subscribe to our weekly newsletter to be informed of new product announcements, sales, and all information to be up to date on what is going on. Finally, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at supersetyourlife.com. Thanks again, and God bless. Also, the audio is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public. Probably a couple other ones that I don't even know about. Thanks a lot.